there's a need to make sure that whatever work product is going out with your name on it, or the firm's name where you're the leader of that project and ultimately you're responsible for the deliverable, there is a level of perfectionism that the word expert implies. And so if you come from a place where perfectionism was about seeking validation through achievement because you never could get validation unless you were achieving at a very high level from a parent, let's say, you carry that with you. Now perfectionism is being exacerbated in the very environment that rewards perfectionism, right? And that's the challenge. And there are other survival patterns that are like that. And so figuring out for me, I start really to look at signals and behaviors, and that's what I did for myself, right? So what is it that you're doing with perfectionism, right? And so if you're coming into the work environment and it's not having an adverse impact, then okay, maybe it doesn't go back to something that you experienced as a child or grew up with. Maybe it's just something that's happening in the moment, right? And that's fine. But and you would know that because the signals and the behaviors around the perfectionism are going to be okay, right? You're not going to be doing things that are hurting people, right? But if you are doing things that are adversely impacting your team or adversely impacting your organization, well, you might have a survival pattern that's running that you need to do some work on and look at healing, right? And so I think just the nature of, an expert, obviously, somebody who says I'm an expert is a high performer, sees themselves as a high performer. But, I've had people on my show, who were, ultra marathoners, right? And that was their high performance. And for them, perfectionism was never being able to feel like they had accomplished whatever it was that they were trying to accomplish in ultra marathoning. Right. And then I've, had people on my show who even in that very perfectionist behavior, that high performing behavior, they know where it came from now. But along with that came a terrible burden, for example, of alcoholism. Right. And so I had a guy on my show who is that super high performer, high achiever, but he was also an alcoholic for a period of time. And so he would literally run his routes trying to become a marathoner, run his routes past liquor stores. So that just kind of gives you a sense of, the outside, here's the high performer achieving, but what's underneath that is detrimental to him, right? And he was able to find out what was happening to him, and he's, blessed to have had the opportunity to go on his own healing journey, and he's not living with the difficult parts of being a high performer. He has it more in check, right? Or recognizes now when he's doing things to fuel the high performer that are actually survival-based responses or trauma responses.
Yeah.